order. Vice Chair C is going to have an invocation and pledge allegiance.
Let's bow our heads. Lord God, we come here tonight to do the work of Newberry County Council and the Public Safety Committee to try to improve everything for our first responders in the court committee. And we want you to keep thinking about our troops that are deployed from the 117th Engineering Brigade over in Kuwait during this time, and also all the military personnel that help go in and rescue our downed soldiers and airmen and bring them back safely. Also, we want you to look out for our first responders. I know last week and this week it's an increased travel because different schools and stuff are on spring break. So I traveled yesterday and it was a lot of traffic on the interstate. So we want you to look out for everybody, keep them safe in their travels, and look out for our first responders when they're out there on the front lines trying to protect us and save us. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. Next on the agenda, do we have a motion for election of 2026 committee chair?
I'll make that motion.
Vice Chair Cease, do we have a second?
Are you moving forward with this, just accepting a motion to
To,
nominate someone, or to
Yeah.
go into the nomination
Well, I was
process?
going into the nomination committee.
Then it
with
would be a motion to go into the nomination phase.
Okay, do we have a motion to go in the nomination phase?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Cease first. Second it, okay. Unanimous, okay. Do we have anyone name?
I make a motion, we open nominations, and I nominate Stuart Smith to be chairman for our second year.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.
I make a motion that we close nominations and accept
Okay.
Stuart as chairman.
I'll second that.
You got a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
All right.
Okay, great, easy enough. Okay, next on the agenda. Okay, additions, deletions from agenda?
None.
Have none? You gonna put it in motion, Ms. Cease?
I make a motion, we adopt the agenda as written.
Okay, got a second, got a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, update on generators from Newberry County Fire Stations, Tommy Long, Emergency Service Director.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've got 4 generators going in, one's at Newberry Rescue, one's at St. Philip's Fire, one's at Pomare Fire, one's at Little Mountain Fire. All the transfer switches have been installed. They're now working on the wiring. They've completed the wiring at Newberry Rescue. They're working on St. Philip's today, and they plan to get Little Mountain and Pomare done this week, and the wiring will be complete. We're waiting on the generators to arrive, and I talked to Mac about that, and he said they were expecting Newberry's and, let me look at this message here. Newberry's and St. Philip's are supposed to be in any day now, so as soon as these come in, West Electric will get those set inside on the sites. And basically all they got to do then is get them wired in and do the startup on those 2. I tried to reach out today to find out the status on the other 2, and the guy I worked with was on vacation, so I wasn't able to get an answer for that, but I will find that out first of next week. So those should be getting close to being completed.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, while I'm up here, I want to tell you, we had some funding from our lease purchase for the ambulances and the fire truck, some excess funding, so we're going to put that towards some additional 800 walkies. Probably be about 9 to 10 walkies.
Do you have amount that you received?
Can I expand upon this?
And you want to expand on it?
I'll
Okay.
expand on it. So there was 60,000 remaining from the purchase of the fire truck and 2 ambulances. To be able to expend those funds because they were not part of the original agreement on how the funds were going to be spent, talked with Theo DeBose. He said, we can bring a resolution before council on April 15th because we have to stipulate exactly what those funds are going to be used for. So when we found out about the 60,000, I basically went back into the budget for next fiscal year that's been proposed to try and find something emergency services related that was kicked out the budget or did not move forward in the budget process. One of the things I noticed was a $100,000 request for 800 megahertz radios. So I contacted Tommy. It's like, hey, let's get a quote on the radios. We've got 60,000, but we can put that towards the 800 megahertz radios that weren't in the proposed budget and try and get those taken care of. So
Good.
April 15th, once he finalizes the type of radio, the quote from Motorola, I can send that to Theo. He will draft up a resolution and we'll have that on the April 15th agenda.
Great. Glad we found that money.
Okay, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Appreciate the work on those generators, Tommy.
It should be done soon.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, discussion of rolling stock replacement by the rescue squad and education tools update. Chief Chris Johnson, Board of Rural Fire Control, Rescue Control.
Yep. So, good evening. Thank you. I want to start off, thank you, Mr. Lucky, that we were able to have a sit down this morning and discuss several things with the squads. And so I appreciate your time this morning. I thought it was very productive, and look forward to the direction we're heading. So, but I do want to talk about rolling stock, extrication tools. Same thing I was here probably last time and talked to y'all about. And so we're still in that same predicament. Lake Murray's ambulances, I'm thinking 24, 25 years old, if not older. Still having trouble with it. Some routine downtime from time to time that just for an ambulance is not a good thing as far as knowing that it's dependable and is going to be there when they're transporting a patient somewhere. And so I know I've got a meeting with the fire board chair, Mr. Jason Fulmer, later this week, and we're going to start working on a rolling stock replacement plan that will include fire and rescue squads. And as we get this plan together, we'll include EMS. We'll be back in front of Mr. Luckady as well as y'all getting your input so that when this plan comes forward, not only is it a plan that is supported fully by the Board of Rescue Squads and Fire Control, but also something that you're already aware of and hopefully have blessed so that we know going forward that this plan is something that would have, hopefully full county support. And so that will take a little bit of time. It does not negate Lake Murray's ambulance problem right now. And so I know it's probably not a popular choice for y'all to have to make, but there are 2 ambulances in the budget right now. I would still request that one of those ambulances be earmarked for a rescue squad and the other one stay with EMS. They were remounted a truck going on 2.5, 3 years ago when our ambulance was remounted. EMS got 2 brand new trucks last year. They could get another truck this year. Routinely, they're running 3 trucks around the clock, so that would cover, the majority of their trucks with brand new trucks. The 4th truck, which is staffed as often as they can at Silver Street, would be that little bit older truck that's 2.5, 3 years old, when our truck was remounted. And so to push this further down the road, I just think would be an injustice, and it may put us in a dangerous position because with the rescue squads, if an ambulance breaks down, we don't have spare ambulances. The hospital is fortunate enough they've got some spares. Obviously they're not great either, but they've got something that they can roll into. If our trucks break down, we're just broke down. And so that's a area without an ambulance at a rescue squad department. So respectfully, I would request that y'all consider making that move in the budget this year. The second thing is the extrication tool upgrades. Again, we talked about this a while back. 6 out of the 7 rescue squads run low-pressure Hurst extrication tools. We have recently found out from them during our last PM maintenance, all 6 of those squads, those tools are past end of life. So if they break, we can't get parts. We can't repair them. I had a tool that had a seal going bad. We noticed a tick in it during an extrication and a little bit of hesitation. They came and looked at it. He's like, yeah, he said, it's just wear and tear. He said, but I can't get the parts to fix it. So he said it might last 10 years. It might last a day. When when you're relying on a tool to cut someone and extract someone out of a car, I don't think that's necessarily the odds that we want to gamble with. And so when you've got 6 other squads that are in the same boat, we've got to start on this problem somewhere. We met as a board with Hearst on Saturday morning and demoed their newest high-pressure hydraulic tools as well as their newest battery power tools. We're going to do the same thing with several other vendors, one being Homastro. We're going to look at TNT, and we're going to look at any other vendor that anybody on the board recommends that's a respectable extrication company. And so we're going to go through and look at those. We're going to look at which one suits all of us the best, and then the majority vote of this board is that's going to be the direction that hopefully all squads will go when they pursue extrication tools. We've already met as well at the last board meeting because my department covers 30-something square miles of interstate. We will be the first ones on that list to be replaced once funding is secured. And we've already started working through the other squads so that they're recommended from the board which squads would go next. And some of that will be considered based on their coverage area, the amount of wrecks they run, entrapments, that type of stuff. And so we'll make those recommendations to Mr. Long and Mr. Luckadoo on what squad next will be in that line. I know looking at it, we're probably looking at per squad. Well, I'll take that back. For my squad, we're looking at probably $80,000 because we've already replaced our backup truck with battery power tools. I'm a little hesitant on making battery power my frontline truck just because batteries die, things happen. I like the reliability of pulling up. I can flip switch on my PTO, turn on the generator, and I've got pressure on my tools. And so that's the way we're leaning right now. I'm not saying I won't change my mind as we look at other vendors, but that's kind of the route we're leaning. Other squads have more than one truck that they probably need to look at replacing, and so their prices may go up, but I think you're going to see anywhere from, $80,000 up is going to probably be the minimum. And so that's just, again, something that needs to be on your radar. I don't want us to have that catastrophic failure on scene. And if we do, I'm hoping, we can minimize it by backup squads. We're working with dispatch that if we're dispatched to a known PNN call or an entrapment, we're going ahead and requesting that backup rescue squad coming. So we're doing our best that we can to mitigate what we know is potentially a problem. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't put that on your radar too, that that's something that we need versus waiting and going, oh yeah, remember I told you a couple years ago we had a problem, and not keeping that on y'all's radar. And so we just wanted to readdress that one more time with you, that those are two major issues facing the rescue squads right now. So that's all I've got. If y'all got any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them.
Anybody got any comments, questions?
I do, real quick. So you're talking about replacing, tools across each one of the squads with, new extrication tools. And you're looking at multiple different vendors.
Yes, sir.
And at this point, I think I understand you right. You haven't decided which tools you're gonna go with. Once you decide which ones you're gonna go with, are you gonna stick with one particular type for each one, so you'll have common tools between
Yes, sir.
each?
That is the goal. And so we've done that for years so that, if I've got a low pressure line right now pulled off of my truck and I have something happens to that tool, I can disconnect it, somebody can bring their tool. I don't have to start up another generator, pull another line. I can just hook their tool in and keep on working. Same thing if we go to high pressure hydraulics or if we go to battery power. If I have a battery that fails, there should be a battery on my truck or the next rescue truck that should be the same. And so that's what we're working toward, is standardizing the equipment we're doing it. And we're not just doing it with extrication tools. We're working as a board now to do it with rope rescue. So if my squad orders rope, we're going to order the same millimeter rope that the other squads are ordering. So that if I need more rope, or I need carabiners, or I need braking systems, or whatever it is, all that stuff will interchange, and we don't have to worry about, it not matching up. So we are making that push as a board, as a county, to standardize those types of equipment across the board. Yes, sir.
Anybody got it? Thank you for your work
think-
on it. Appreciate getting together and coming up with a game plan.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comments? Okay, comments from committee?
I just think it's a good idea that Chris brought up, that we standardize and go, all the departments have the same thing. If you have a breakdown,
Yeah.
you can swap in and out. Otherwise, if you get different type of tools, you're out of luck, and you
Right.
got, probably get, if you buy the same type and your outfit and all those different things, you may get a discount by buying.
I think that's a good idea too. We can all get together and test out and see what works the best for us.
And I do have, I apologize, Chris, I should have asked you this before you got away, but, you said the, ambulance that's down at Lake Murray is about 25 years old. You got a ballpark idea about how many calls they run?
I don't. That was something me and Mr. Luckady talked about this morning, and that's one of my homework items that I took away is I'm going to do that across the county, is the number of calls, the number of responses, the number of transports, and we're going to try and do that for the last 3 years. I can tell you Lake Murray is one of the more active squads. A lot of it, I hate this to be this way, sometimes it depends. So if Medic 3 is in-house at Lake Murray, they are one of the stations that has a hospital ambulance staff there. They may not transport as often because that hospital ambulance is staffed 24/7 and they're out the door faster. So they may support them with personnel. But there's also those times where that ambulance is in Columbia or wherever on another call in another district or whatever, and Lake Murray is really good about backfilling and running those calls. I think they are currently sitting at, I know of 4 or 5 paramedics that are extremely active. They had to put one of their paramedics on an EMS truck the other night, so they needed extra help. I know I talked to y'all right after snowstorms and all. They were the squad that transported, the cardiac arrest patient that they were able to get a pulse back to Columbia. They transported them in that Lake Murray ambulance. And so I can't give you a number, but I can tell you they are one of the more responsive squads and more active squads with their personnel.
I don't mean to cut you off,
No, you're fine.
but I know Lexington County leans on them quite a bit.
Yes, sir.
Pretty heavily.
Right. And so that is another thing, as far as mutual aid, that type of thing. But, I would tell you that would be one, if I was in your seat, I would not hesitate for that department to be one of them. If you had to make that hard choice, that would be a squad that I would tell you I think would be worth that decision.
Chief, I got a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
On your discussion, when you're going forward, some of those ambulances that we have, we've retired them, new chassis up underneath of them, or is that maybe a possibility in your
So
discussion?
that was, again, you're hitting all the things me and Mr.
Okay.
Luckady talked this morning. I've got an idea of a plan.
Okay.
And that is something that I'm going to work with Mr. Fulmer on, that, I don't want to go into a lot of great details because
No,
we'll just get
you're
bogged
working on
down.
it.
But yes, one of the plans is to look at remounting ambulances, especially ones from the hospital that have the brand-new boxes on, because they run the miles up quicker.
Right.
And so I think, they could run the miles up. We remount that box on a new cabin chassis, and we can get 3 times the lifespan out of it just because of the way the rescue squads work. And I think you get a better return on your money. Unfortunately, we would have to have it looked at, and Tommy, you may have already done this, but I don't think Lake Murray's truck, because of the age and the new safety regulations, that truck is going to be remountable. The truck that y'all remounted for us, that was one of EMS's newer trucks, that's perfect for us. That truck has been amazing. It's made a huge difference in my response and my retention, my active members. I've got 2 EMTs One just finished class, one's in class right now, and she's looking to go to advanced school when this is over.
Great.
And so, you know, and nothing against, they are females that are in the class. And so having these newer trucks with the lift systems in the back, it helps with, you know, injury prevention. It helps them to be able, you know, to be out there doing what they need to do, getting patients into trucks. We took a transport home just this weekend from the 3rd floor. And so, you know, we were able to accomplish that with 2 personnel, with not having to call extra people for lift assist. And so if we can get this plan in place and things fall into place with all the things that Mr. Luckadoo is working on, I think remounts will be a great option for the rescue squads. I don't think that's an option for this truck for Lake Murray, just because of the age and safety considerations. But I can tell you Station 15 in Chapels, Station 13 in Pomeria, and Station 16 in Whitmire all have trucks that were bought brand new. And so those boxes are not quite as old as the one at Lake Murray, and I think those will all 3 be trucks that will be able to be remounted and that we already own. And so it would be some downtime for them, because that truck will have to go away and be remounted. But those can be done probably a third of the cost, not quite a third, probably 2/3 the cost of what it's costing for a brand new truck to be built.
You may know this answer, Tommy may know it, but how many years typically are we getting out of the ambulances at the hospital for the mileage before we're putting them for a second unit or a backup?
3 to 5.
Around 5, and we're putting around,
Just to let you know, I got 3 ambulances I'm fixing to sell on Good Deal. I've got me back in tomorrow to look at those. So I was gonna utilize some of that funding to put toward Lake Murray's truck.
Okay.
I don't know how much you're gonna get. I have no idea till we get
Sure.
back and sell it.
But I can tell you, my ambulance that remounted was $252,000. I don't think we're getting $252,000 for those 3 trucks.
yeah, I
And so
understand.
it's gonna help. It's gonna help,
Yeah.
no doubt. And
But
that
what,
will,
a typical ambulance is $1 million, right? No, half a
No,
million,
half
half a
a
million,
million.
okay.
about $500,000. And so
Okay.
we can get them for probably,
Half.
not, maybe, not quite half by the time prices have increased since mine was built. But I think it's a great option for the rescue squads, because again, we can get that longer life, and then we hit end of life for our trucks just because they're getting that old. I think you get twice the money because they're not gonna have the 200,000 miles that EMS is gonna have on them.
Sure, we gotta
And
have
so
a
then you
plan.
turn around and you get that return on your
Yep.
investment again. So,
Thank y'all for working on the plan for us. We gotta have a plan, go forward, where we all can work on.
And I, oh, go ahead. Now, I was just gonna say, we had a fantastic talk this morning, and it was really what I call setting realistic expectations and understanding that it took many years to get to where we are. It's not, we're not gonna get out of it
Sure.
overnight. And I know one thing that's not popular to him, and I know it, I agree with him, it's a morale setter. We never want our rescue squads to feel like they're always just getting hand-me-down ambulances from the hospital when those go deadline. But I also would stand that, you know, I told him, I said, we've gotten through this budget cycle. We've told the hospital we've funded 2 ambulances in the proposed next year budget and stuff. And so I don't know if council would even want to consider reallocating one to the rescue squads or not. But if not, with an understanding that we're doing this on a very temporary basis, this is not the mindset that I'm coming with. But if we have an ambulance that's being deadlined that is better than that ambulance that's causing so many problems, for the temporary, let's get it over there if that ambulance is in that bad of shape. This one may have higher mileage, but we may not be having the issues with it that we're having with the rescue squad ambulance. Temporary fix to solve a crucial problem at this moment. And I know that's not the direction I want to have to take moving forward in the future, but, we agree on that, but I do think that if we can find a better ambulance that's being deadlined to replace that one that's at a critical point, at least in the temporary, that might be something we have to look at now. But I also was explaining the shifts that we have come 28, 29 with some of our Philo SSRC changes that are coming, that we're going to be able to look at rolling capital a lot and do a lot more beginning with the 28, 29 year. And I think that's where we can start to get a little more proactive,
Yeah.
but we're still a couple years away from that point. before that could take shape.
Well, as long as we're working on a game plan that, will
And we're
work.
working there. That same idea was just employed with Prosperity's truck, the van that's getting sold. It
Yeah,
was
I noticed
pretty
that.
much unrepairable, and so that's,
Yeah.
especially during the storm, we moved a truck in, and that has become a permanent truck there. So, for temporary options, yeah, I think that is an option.
But I want to be clear
Yeah.
for the record,
Yes,
from a morale standpoint, that is not our mission.
Right.
To operate where our rescue squads
Yeah,
always get hand-me-down ambulances. I'm just trying to address a
Yes.
need now that they have
Yes.
on some of
Yes.
these deadline 911 ambulances, hospital ambulances, that we may be able to give them a better option than what they have for right now. And so, but I'm stating for the
Yeah.
record, for your rescue squad members, that I certainly don't carry a mindset of they are always going to get hand-me-down.
So, you said that the hospital ambulances, whenever we purchase a new one, we get how many years out of them? on
about
average?
5.
About 5 years out of them?
Yes, sir.
And that's based on mileage? So, how long a box will generally last?
Yeah.
Right, and that's why we're just. And I'll just tell you, again, I know we're in a public setting, I don't want us to go super far because this is not an approved plan, but just
Okay.
the one of them that I'm looking at is that if we were to get into eventually this rotation where hospitals get new ambulances, you could look at replacing a rescue squad truck, say, 1 every 2, and then 1 every 3, and then 1 every 2, and 1 every 3. That would put us on about an 18-year rotation, that you would rotate out a rescue squad ambulance after about 18 years. And so now you have virtually gotten, 23 years out of that box, and then turn around and sell it with a truck with a cabin chassis that's got lower miles than the 220,000. You've gotten 2 life cycles or more out of that box, and you're getting some return. That's just one example of an idea that we're going to look at as far as how we maybe look at replacing the rescue squad ambulances. And then sometimes you may be able, if that truck's not having any issues and, it's fine, you may can stretch that a little bit longer. But we would have that in the plan that, we may could rotate them out at 18. Again, if they're not having any issues and they're still in fine service, maybe we stretch that out a little bit longer. So, but that's just one plan that we're looking at, proposing to the boards to consider.
Chief, I appreciate your work on it, and Kelly and board, thank you for their work on it. Come up with a game plan, we'll make it work.
Well, like I said, we're gonna try and find something that we're all in agreement on so that it makes it hopefully a little bit easier for y'all as funding comes available to know
That's
that
right.
it's something that's gonna have countywide support
We're
behind it.
relying on you to
So we're gonna
give
work
us
to
information.
get that for you, and hopefully,
Okay.
like I said, might not be easy, but it'll be a little bit easier for you, I hope.
As long as we got
where
the
can.
information, we can go forward with it.
So,
I like a plan. I
There we
mean,
go.
Yeah,
and
that's where it's at.
As Ted and I talked before,
Yeah.
you got a plan. I mean,
well, that's the only thing you can do. Like I said, sometimes the funding will be there, sometimes there might be a hard year and we can't get there, but, if we're routinely making progress, then it doesn't hurt quite so bad.
That's right. Tommy, I'd like to thank you for your work on those
Thank you,
generators. I know that's been went through a lot of challenges with it, but I think we're seeing the finish line. We're getting close with it. That's great. Appreciate it. And I know the departments appreciate it too. Just lucky. Thank you for your hard work on the projects. Working with everybody is great. Get a plan. We'll make it work. Any other comments?
Just appreciate all y'all's hard work and coming up with a plan, trying to make it work. And if you don't have a plan, you can't ever get to where you need to be, so.
No, it's been real busy lately, wrecks on interstate and hazmat, and so we want to thank all the first responders, day in, day out, making it work. Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make it.
Mr. Cease, okay, all in favor, aye? Thank you.